Hey, we're here with the Gridiron Geek once again for week number 8. How you doing there, Kurt?
Pretty good, Ray. I'm wearing really a faded T-shirt. I have to explain. This is a Rocky T-shirt, really the only one I had kicking around. Um, I mention Rocky Balboa because everybody knows even if they haven't seen all of the movies, they know the legend of Rocky Balboa. How
Sure.
he didn't win his first big fight, but he won everybody's heart by going the distance.
Yeah.
Um, there's several games, I've spoke to some coaches who concur with me. I think that the entire county is stronger. Everybody's more parity. There's more good teams, more good games. All that wonderful stuff. Right now, and not just in our local districts, but in Misha.
Yeah.
Um, but you can't avoid on any level of football. You can't avoid the occasional mismatch.
Right.
And some of these teams tonight in week 8, they're not really playing to win. They don't have a chance. They're playing against the turbo clock. And they go
Yeah.
the distance,
Right.
much like Jefferson did against Valley Catholic and beat the turbo clock and finish with a respectable score. So I think we're going to look for some of our Rocky candidates tonight to maybe go the distance against Apollo Creed.
Sounds good. Before we get started with that, let's recap real quick. DeSoto Hillsboro, our live stream STL our game last week, and your thoughts on that particular game.
Absolutely no surprise. Absolutely no surprise. This phenomenon of teams, um, coming together and practicing and playing and improving, and then getting a little bit of time off to nurse their wounds.
Right.
These teams are going to be dangerous when they come back. I know right now, probably the biggest seeding controversy in Misha has to do with teams coming out of quarantine, playing one or two tune-up games, and getting a top seed. So now they're fresh, and
Mm.
they have the advantage of the top seed.
Right.
So we don't know how often that might happen. It might happen, but we know that these are dangerous teams. And DeSoto ran out of gas in the second half. No surprise there. Good for Hillsboro to weather the storm of having to play two really charged up teams, and maybe even in a weird way getting a reprieve to be able to go back into the out of conference schedule and play some teams on even terms.
Sounds good. Appreciate the insight. Speaking of non-conference games, it seems like that's all we have this week here. We're gonna go as quickly as we can because we got a lot of games here. Let's start with DeSoto and Fox, a rescheduled game. DeSoto was supposed to play St. Genevieve, but they rescheduled with Fox. Your thoughts on that one?
Mhm. We don't get to talk about Fox too much on the Blitz. Fox, wonderful local team. We have them ranked currently first in our power poll. This is really a mismatch. I think DeSoto is kind of going to deal with what Hillsboro dealt with, ironically, last week. Fox has had an extra week to prepare and get healthy. Maybe not prepare for DeSoto, but with that, DeSoto can't expect to cope with Fox's numbers. And we should see a turbo clock in the fourth quarter of that game.
All right. Moving on to our next one here. We're going from large school to small school here. Crystal City and Missouri Military Academy.
Yes, our friends from Coastal Carolina, Missouri Military Academy, um, turned out to maybe not look quite as strong in the second half of the season as I think. Here I bragged on these guys on your show, and
Yeah.
so that's the Gridiron Geek Hex
You
of
hex them.
legend. But yeah, I didn't mean to do that. But I think Crystal City's got a real good shot to go and win on the road, and this could be a much, much needed a second win for the Hornets tonight.
Nice.
Not
Grandview
promising
and okay. I'll give you that. But hey, you're saying there's a chance for Crystal City. I like that. There.
One
Moving
point
on.
favorite. 1 point favorite.
Okay, there you go. Moving on to Grandview and St Vincent.
Well, before you fight Apollo Creed, you have to learn how to fight Spider Rico. And I'll say the same thing about the Grandview Eagles that I said about the Windsor Owls a couple seasons ago. We when Mickey discovered Rocky, he was still kind of losing to Spider Rico, but he was slugging it out pretty good. Now, St. Vincent is not the best team in the I-55 conference, They're probably not the second best team, but they're having a strong season. I think they're going to win that bronze medal. And if Grandview can avoid a turbo clock against really a 4-touchdown favorite and St. Vincent on the road, then it would be a big step for the varsity Eagles as well.
Perfect. Our next game, oh boy, Herculaneum and Valley.
Uh,
Yeah.
well, no, I think
Yeah.
Herculaneum has bigger fish to fry than sacrificing life and limb to try to avoid a turbo clock in this one. It wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility for a playoff game or something like that. But, Herculaneum needs to worry about weeks 9 and 10. So we're going to say an early turbo clock, maybe right around halftime in this contest.
All right. You're being nice. I appreciate that. Being nice to my Herky Black Cats.
What, you think there's going to be a turbo clock in the first 5 minutes?
No, no. I'm hoping there's not a turbo clock at all. But we know Valley's a good ball team there. So
Ball
moving on.
security, Black Cats.
Yeah,
Ball security. Valley's
yeah.
getting an awful lot of points off turnovers this year.
Right, right. Moving on, Jefferson and Chaffey.
I had a friendly disagreement with the coach about this game as well. I think that if Jefferson will play up Chaffey. Alex Rugley is a wise coach. He reminds me of Dan Devine when Dan Devine coached the Missouri Tigers. Always playing up the opponent, always worried about the next underdog and the dangers of this and that. He's Karl Malone before the Dream Team's debut at the Olympics.
Right.
But I said if Colby Ott isn't standing on the sideline chewing sunflower seeds and wearing a ball cap right around the fourth quarter, Jefferson's doing something wrong. So I think this will be a turbo clock in the Blue Jays' favor as well.
Another Rocky game there. Your Festus
Another
Tigers. Yeah, your Festus Tigers at Farmington.
Well, for all of our poetic warrior battle talk about Rocky and Apollo Creed, sometimes you do have to be the hype killer. And once again, I hope the Festus fans don't hate me. I'm one of them. But I don't want to be the hype killer in some of these big regular season contests that Festus has found itself playing in. I mean, two really great teams, two wonderful traditions. You can't see it being a blowout either way. I mean, this is always with a few exceptions, such as the blowout in Festus' favor about 7 years ago. Even since then, it's really great games between Festus and Farmington. I just don't know how much these teams need a victory right now. Farmington already lost the opportunity to have an undefeated season. Festus is the absolute clinch District 1 top seed with the bye in week 10. There's nothing anybody can do about it now. So I just think we'll see the players play at 100% and the coaches maybe go about 75% rotate. Lots of junior varsity players in, keep everybody fresh, and make sure to stay healthy in this contest. With that, I think Festus is probably the natural favorite in a loose and easy game. So we're going to call him a 6-point favorite, but neither team's fan base should overreact if you lose this one because it's not going to be a magnificently important outcome in the grand scheme of things.
Perfect. Quickly moving along here, Windsor at Sweet Springs.
Well, a long road trip for the Windsor Owls to play, as you put it earlier, a Class 1 powerhouse in Sweet Springs. The Sweet Springs doesn't look like such an overwhelming Class 1 team that they would necessarily be the favorite against an improving Class 4 team such as Windsor. So even with the long bus ride and the stiff legs, we're going to give the Owls a 2-touchdown favorite over Sweet Springs.
All right. Windsor, we already did that one. Our live stream STL South play game of the week here, Thayer at St Pius.
Once again, you're talking about a team that is playing up when it comes to Thayer, but being the favorite often when they play up. If Thayer is about a 10-point favorite over St Pius tonight at Hill Valley, which I think they are, excuse the pun, I think that that's no surprise and something we've seen, but At the same time, Thayer probably isn't what it was when they were competing with Valley for those Class 1 championships. So St.
Mm.
Pius has a strong chance as a strong underdog in Week 8.
Calling for an upset, are you?
No, no,
Oh,
I think Thayer will win by 10 points, but if the ball bounces funny, then
mm-hmm.
St. Pius may indeed grab the upset.
All right. And the live stream STL game of the week here, Borgia at Hillsboro.
Another terrific choice, terrific game of the week. It's always interesting when Borgia plays the top teams in Jefferson County. I think special teams is going to play a role. When Borgia beat Festus last season, Festus played, I thought, one of the better out of conference games of anybody in the county when they took on Borgia and led 28-13 at halftime. But Borgia had field position the special teams mismatch was so lopsided that Borgia started every possession in Tiger territory, all four downs, rained balls into the end zone until they were able to come back and win. So Hillsboro can't let that happen. It's a little deceiving. I've talked about Hillsboro's special team struggles mostly to get as many 2-point conversions as the Hawks are used to. Much more important than 2-point conversions in this contest with Borgia is the field position, kicking, punting, coverage teams, tackling, returners. Everybody has to do a good job because Borgia thrives on good field position. If the Hawks give them a long field, I think they can pull off the victory, and we'll call Hillsboro a field goal favorite in your game of the week tonight. And hi, Patricia, once again.
I saw the cat there. She wants in on the action there. Well, thanks so much.
Always.
Appreciate all your insight there. You can catch Kurt over at the Gridiron Geeks Mississippi Magazine on Facebook. Thanks so much for being with us again this week.
Thank you, Ray. Have a good time.
You too, bud.